So I've always been worried about cutting rafters properly as a beginner, and you're probably feeling the same way if you're watching this video. Well, I can assure you that after this episode, you will be fully confident on how to cut a rafter, including doing your plumb cut, doing a proper seat cut, also called a Birdsmouth, and you will also know how to use a framer square and a speed square to do this cut. But first, before I get to that, all my rafters are sitting in a pile down over by my driveway, and I have to bring all of them up. And I forgot that we had moved that here, so now I have to move all that sheathing away. Lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. That looks like mold, I don't know. So the first step of installing the rafter is obviously to be marking the spacing of the rafter here on the top plate. So 16 inches on center, fairly simple and fairly common. This top is not making my life easier, but I'm too lazy to take it down to have to put it back up by myself. So it's gonna stay for now. Gotta do the same thing on the beam. It's a little more challenging with the height, but it's the same logic. And I don't know, you keep going, because I have to let go of that tape. Oh la la. Well, let's hope it stays in place. Oh, that's pretty good. It's holding well. Ah, ha, ha, ha. The tape fell. I have to put it back to step one. Okay. So now that I see exactly where my rafters are going to be, I can see that I had put screws kind of at the wrong spot, meaning that they're going to be in the way of the hangers. So I'm going to remove them, and I'm going to do 2 rows of screws right in between the joist spacing, so that it won't clash. So that will be so much better. So for this project, we're gonna use 2x12 rafters. And before any smarty pants out there start saying, whoa, this is completely overkill, why would you use 2x12? Well, I have to use 2x12 for insulation purposes, meaning that because it's a cathedral ceiling and in my area, I need R38 of insulation. And the only way to fit that into the roof assembly is to use a 2x12 rafter and to use R38 compressed insulation. So yes, structurally speaking, a 2x10 or a 2x8 probably would have been just fine, but here, the insulation is really what governs. So make sure to make your research because that could change your plans. So to assist me in cutting my rafters properly, I'm using this Carpenter square, which is 16 inches by 24. And then I have those little brass stair gauges, I think that's what they're called. So I don't know if you can really see, but this goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And so you just place it right at the outside of 6. And then here, go over to 12. And that's it. So then, by placing both of those brass things against the wood, this here is my 6/12 angle. But you can see that for a 2x12 it's kind of problematic because it's obviously not deep enough. I mean, this would work great if See, like it works perfect for a 2x6. You get the full depths. So what can we do? Well, thankfully this is longer. So instead of doing 12 and 6, I'm gonna do 24 and 12. So I'm gonna push this one to 12. But 24 is the end of it, so I can't put anything, unfortunately. But then if I block this right here, and this one needs to be also, the 24 here needs to be at the edge of the 2x12. This should be my 612. That's it. So that should go. So I don't know if you remember, but this is the spreadsheet that I introduced you to when I did the gable end wall, because it was also calculating my stud height. Now the stud part here is really focusing on rafters and what size should the rafters be. So if you look here, the full rafter length tells me that for the setup of my cabin, the rafter should be 13 foot and 2 inches long. Well, unfortunately, I only bought 12-foot long rafters. So it's too late now, and also the 16-footer, to be honest, were too expensive. They were gonna be heavier to move, so I will have to do a rafter tail extension, which I do not recommend, but this is the situation I'm in. Anyway, what really matters on this spreadsheet that I did is that, you know, so that's all you enter, your slope, the thickness of your ridge, the width of your building, the wall height, the sheathing thickness, the exterior wall width, if it's a 2x4 or 2x6 wall, the rafter depths, if it's a 2x8, 2x10, 2x12, and what kind of overhang do you want. So once you pull all that in, this is the output. And the one that really matters at this point is the diagonal. The diagonal is this measure here, from here to here. But if you think about it, this diagonal, if you just push it up, it's also the measurements from the top of the rafter all the way to this imaginary line that goes through right to the exterior of your sheathing, which is the end of your seat cut. So meaning that we just drew that line. We just drew this line here, this one. And now if I just have to go and measure this and then draw another one, which will be parallel, and that will give me the outer edge of my seat cut. So let's do that. So based on the spreadsheet, I know that I need 133 and 11/16 from this side. So here's the challenge I'm running into. Because my rafter is not long enough, I mean, you know, as I said, it should be 13, so I'm like missing a foot. This is the line I just marked, and unfortunately, I can't use this because, well, I mean, you can see here, the rafter is not long enough for me to properly use this. Even if I take it back to, you know, what we used to have it, I mean, way originally, 612 instead of using 1224, even this will not work. So there's another option. We can use the speed square. I mean, I think it's not as precise, but it will work, and that's the only option. So it's fairly easy. You just place it here at that point where we did the mark, and then you just rotate it until the 6 here is at the edge of the rafter. So you keep turning, and that's it. Right here, I'm at 6. That should be what I need. And then I'll just go ahead and extend it. There we go. The next step is the seat cut, which in my case is 6 inches because I will have the wall 5.5 and the sheathing half, so that's 6. So typically, you know, with those little knobs on 6 and 12, it's fairly easy. You just have to like slide it, and you just have to calculate that this measurement is your seat cut. So obviously that's too big, so you keep sliding it. But eventually, I'm running out of rafters. You can see that all we're doing really is that we want to be absolutely perpendicular to this line. This line and this line are perpendicular. So here's what I'm going to do to kind of cheat, is that because my rafter doesn't keep going, it's fine. I'm on 12 here. I need to be on 6, so I have my 6 inches for my full seat. So what I'm gonna do is I'm still gonna slide it, and I don't have anything here holding it, unfortunately. But what I can do is, as long as I check that it's aligned with this mark and this mark on the back end, then I know that this is square and I'm fine. So all I have to do is make sure that this is both aligned. So it's a little bit special, but there you go. And then mark this up. And then this goes away. And here's how you do your seat cut. Okay. So because I'm by myself, I thought last night about how can I temporarily, attach my rafter so that it holds in place easily. And so what I came up with was using one of those angle that I've used in the past, and that should make my life much easier. Yeah, let's try it. We'll see. Okay, so now the goal is lock it in place. I'll try to lock it in place. All right, moment of truth. Does it fit or not? Whoa! Yeah, it's not bad at all. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with it. Maybe there's like an extra 1/8 of an inch, and that's fine. That is fine. Can go ahead and put a screw or something so I can remove this. Okay, I think that's in. So it's the next step. You gotta put hangers on those rafters. This is a Simpson LRU210Z. And the special thing about this one is that you can adjust those legs so that you can match this angle to any slope your roof is at. And I'll have to install one at each single rafters. And it just goes right here, just like that. Again, I'm gonna use this palm nailer, which I haven't used in a while, but such a lifesaver. Boom. Haha. It's so easy. And the same thing on the other side. You're absolutely gonna need a palm nail there. I was trying to finish one of the nail. I mean, it's almost impossible to do it with a hammer. Maybe framers know how to, but it doesn't seem practical at all. But that's it. I mean, it's rock solid now. So here at the seat cut, we have two options. Do you remember those little H2.5A that I've used with the floor framing we're sitting on? Well, you can use those, and you probably have seen them on other construction, and place it here. I mean, that's just fine, but that is 10 nails each time to install, so it's gonna take a long time. The other option is you can use those Simpson SDWC 15600, so 15600 6-inch fully threaded screws. That's allowed to be installed as an attachment for your rafter, and it's going to be placed using the tool that they provide you, and we're pretty much, well, I still have to figure that out. Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, it's gonna get installed from the top plate inside the joist like this. And so I only need to use one on each time. So what's better, 10 nails or just one of these? Obviously, I'm gonna go with the screw because I'm lazier. And to make your life even easier, this gives you a guide. And the guide is made exactly to sit here at the bottom of your rafter, or probably here. And it's gonna insert my screw exactly through both plates inside the rafter. So let's give it a shot. And you can remove it. And that's it. So that was just one rafter, and I have 32 to install. So at least now you understand exactly how I put this rafter together. But now I just have to keep installing them. And it's tough by yourself, I'm not gonna lie. It is really challenging. All right. More rain today. Go see how the cabin's doing. It's been raining like that for about 3 days now. It's kind of sad. Oh, look at this. Everything's so wet. Well, let's check inside. Still water everywhere. I mean, the top's definitely helping a lot, but water is still getting in. See this? Like slowly dropping here. just this little bit here. It's been flooded, all this. Let's see if we can fix it. Is that better? It's that hole over there. I hate seeing all this water. I think this is mold. That white stuff, I think it's a little bit of mold. It's lovely. Some cabin mold. Love it. So we're finally getting a break from the rain. It's supposed to not rain for the next 3 days, so I decided to kind of like pop the top up, which is always a pain to do, and it's even more of a pain to put back on, but I need this to dry fully. Now I can go back to keep putting my rafters on. All right, last nail. Woo! This is it. So you've seen I've put those screws. I mean, this is really mostly for uplift reason, but you know, it's still like moving a little bit. So I'm still gonna go and put a few toenails. I don't know, I'll just stabilize it a little bit better. Yeah, see, that's much better. So this is it. I've installed the rafters, and it was definitely not an easy task doing all this by myself. I mean, as you saw, they're pretty heavy, but yeah, it feels great to be past this point. I was always worried about installing rafters. In the next episode, we're gonna work on finishing up the soffit, because I need to install rafter tail extensions, and so that's what we'll cover up. And then eventually, the last scary part is gonna be to put sheathing and roofing over this, and still figuring out how I'm gonna do it safely. So we'll see. We'll find out.